It's Friday, everyone. What do we do on Fridays here at the Hint Hive? That's right, we smash the patriarchy. Hey there, badass women and allies. Welcome back to the Hint Hive, amplifying women's voices, your weekly dose of real talk, raw truth, and a whole lot of empowerment. I'm Kelly Hint, Queen Bee of this hive, your host, feminist life coach, and psychotherapist, here to call out the nonsense society throws at us and help you step into your power. Today, we are tackling a big one, the myth of the perfect woman. You know what I'm talking about. The impossible, exhausting, and completely ridiculous expectations that society has piled on us. The idea that we have to be everything all at once. Beautiful, successful, nurturing, selfless, ambitious, always available, effortlessly thin, forever young, an amazing mom, a career powerhouse, a domestic goddess, and somehow still well rested. Girl, it's a trap, and today we are busting out of it. So grab your coffee, wine, tea, or whatever fuels your soul, and let's get into it. All right, before we get into it, I just need to address something real quick. A lot of people have contacted me and asked me why I am not talking about what is going on in the current political climate in the United States. And I've probably alluded to this before, but I will say it again. I'm kind of exhausted. I'm burnout from the political nonsense. I'm very unhappy with how things are here in the United States right now. And I'm not just talking about a political party. I'm disgusted with how America is functioning, from the citizens to the government to the healthcare system to the uber rich. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm frustrated. And I want people to have a place to escape to, where they can get away from it. And that's what I'm actually doing with this podcast. I feel like I'm trying to, I don't know, maybe backdoor the whole thing, empower women because that's part of what is trying to be taken away from us. I know it doesn't make sense, and I'm not making a whole lot of sense right now, but just please know that I'm so burnt out. I don't want to talk about our current administration right now. That may change. I will acknowledge that there's a lot of horrible stuff going on, and I'm so sorry for everybody who is affected by it, but I just can't right now. So that is a boundary that I'm setting and enforcing. If I am ready to do a podcast about anything political, trust me, I will. But also, I want to turn some of this power over to you, my listeners. Tell me what you want to hear. Not just writing to me and telling me, I'm surprised you're not talking about this. But if you want to hear about something, if you want to hear about politics, then tell me what you're looking for, and maybe I can make it work. But I feel like I am constantly coming up with things to talk about for everyone, but I don't always know if this is what you want to hear. So please feel free. I know some of you, this obviously, excuse me, this obviously isn't for every single listener, because a lot of you give me feedback and I absolutely love it. But if someone out there is listening right now and you want to hear me talk about something that is very important to you or you're curious about, please let me know. I would be more than willing to come up with an episode that is more tailored to what you're looking for or something that you're interested in. Okay, having said that, let's jump back into the topic. So this whole idea of the perfect woman is not new. Society has been shaping and reshaping this unattainable standard for literal centuries. So let's just break it down real quick. We've got the 1950s housewife ideal. Ladies in the US, you should probably be able to recognize that there are a lot of people still alive on this earth, in this country, who want to go back to the 1950s. And those of us who do not enjoy that type of lifestyle, we are resisting, we are rebelling, because it is not the 1950s. I've said this 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 more. If you want to be the 1950s housewife, girlfriend, go do it. Do it. You do you. But do not tell me that I have to be the 1950s housewife. Now, this woman, this 1950s housewife, she is the picture-perfect homemaker. She's devoted to her husband and her children, living to serve, and of course, smiling through it all. And then we've got the superwoman of the 80s and 90s. Women at that time fought for their careers, but instead of shedding expectations, we just added more. Now we had to do it all and have it all. So you had to be the 1950s housewife and the superwoman. So you had to have the fabulous career, but also be the picture-perfect mom and wife and, taking care of the home. And then we've got the modern day social media mirage. Oh, I could go off for hours on this, but I won't, I promise. This is a highlight reel of perfection, where women seem to juggle everything effortlessly. Flawless looks, thriving careers, Pinterest-worthy meals, perfect children, and oh yeah, inner peace. Sorry, but it is a mirage. Nobody's life is like that. So for any of you watching any of these influencers or even seeing your friends putting all of these picture-perfect posts all over social media, it is not the reality. It's not just a filter for the pictures, it's a filter for the life, the person's life. So just try to remember that. And then we've got cultural expectations. Different cultures have layered additional expectations, some pushing women into very specific roles, and others demanding self-sacrifice as a measure of worth. And then we've got the religious and moral standards. Many traditions impose ideals of purity, submission, and selflessness that reinforce these unattainable things. These shifting ideals over the last century prove one thing. Perfection is a moving target designed to keep us chasing our worth instead of owning it. And as a reformed perfectionist, okay, that's a lie. I just lied to every person listening. As somebody who continues to struggle with perfectionism, let me just tell you, it is so damaging. Striving for perfection is not just unrealistic, it is harmful. Let's take a second to talk about how it messes with us. I mean, first and foremost, the mental health toll. Studies show that perfectionism is linked to anxiety, depression, and burnout. Check, check, check. I can hear you checking off the list, right? As you have, if you are somebody who's dealt with perfectionism, absolutely. You know the feelings of anxiety, depression, and burnout. Trying to be perfect is like carrying an emotional backpack full of freaking bricks. You will break down under the weight. And then how about that self-worth roller coaster? If your value is tied to meeting impossible standards, you will never feel enough. The goalposts will always move. And how about physical burnout? The pressure to look a certain way leads to disordered eating, body dysmorphia, and chronic stress. All of which I have seen in my practice countless times. The pressure to overachieve leads to exhaustion, insomnia, and even physical illness. And I'm sorry, perfectionism has a profound impact on relationships. Perfectionism can make us feel like we have to earn love and approval. We're only worthy if we're perfect. We can't be loved unless we are perfect. It can create distance, resentment, and an inability to be vulnerable. How can you be vulnerable and be your true, genuine, authentic self with your partner if you're always striving for perfection? It makes it a real challenge to be able to say, you know what, honey, I'm having a hard time right now. Can you help me out? Can we talk? Can I unburden some of this stuff in my head? We can't do that if we're trying to be perfect. And then, of course, we've got that damn workplace pressure. Women are held to higher standards than men in professional settings. Studies show that mistakes made by women are judged more harshly, reinforcing the need to overcompensate. And I mean, I'll just divert for a second here because this is a common occurrence among any minority status. I think of Barack Obama, our first Black president. He had to be damn near perfect to get elected into office. Can you imagine if Barack Obama had 3 different wives over time and he had a bunch of kids from a bunch of different women, like he would not have gotten to be president. Very similarly, women have to perform at a higher level than men just for equality. We have to be damn near perfect. So let's call it what it is. A toxic, rigged game. And you know what, ladies? It is time to stop playing. Many years ago, I read Brené Brown's book, The Gifts of Imperfection. And that was the start of my own personal journey to try and conquer some of this stuff. At the time, I didn't even understand any of the internalized misogyny that I was dealing with. I didn't understand that I was experiencing discrimination at all. And my level of perfectionism was obnoxious. I had to go to therapy and try and work on it because my anxiety was through the roof. I was having panic attacks, and it makes me very angry and resentful that society did this to me. I'm just going to say it like that. I am going to blame society and the unrealistic expectations on women that created the anxiety and the need for me to perform perfectly in order to exist. It's toxic. It's disgusting. And I encourage any of you, if you're readers and you like to, read some, I don't want to say like self-help stuff, but Brené Brown has, she has a bunch of different books. Some of them are, I don't know, it seems like maybe there's a little bit of repetition, but I can't judge her for that. I have a lot of repetition in my podcast too. I talk about a lot of the same subjects from different angles. But again, like when I read The Gifts of Imperfection, it was a good start for me. And so let's talk about how to break free from perfectionism, because that was, obviously, I'm still on the journey of trying to reduce the amount of control that perfectionism has over me. But I will call it a journey, but there are some things that I've done that have been very, very helpful. And all right, enough with the problems. Let's just talk solutions, right? So here's how we can start to break free from this perfection trap. The very first step, call out the BS. Start noticing where these unrealistic expectations are coming from. Is it social media? Is it family? Is it cultural norms? Awareness is step one. Again, think about what's coming up in your social media feeds. Are you following all of these, quote, perfect people with their perfect makeup and their perfect children and their perfect bodies? And is it making you feel like crap about yourself? Start becoming aware of that. Become aware of what you're consuming. And then the next step is to challenge the narrative. When you catch yourself feeling like you need to do it all or be perfect, just ask yourself, who benefits from me believing this? Spoiler alert, it is not you. The very people who want to hold you down are the ones that benefit from your striving to be perfect. And then the next piece, redefine success on your terms. What actually matters to you? Not what you were taught, not what society expects. You define your own version of success. Nobody else gets to tell you what that looks like for you. And then, this is where Brené Brown comes in. Embrace imperfection. Give yourself permission to be a work in progress. Progress over perfection. Always. I'm telling you, when you think about the true benefits of being imperfect, you're learning, you're growing. There are lessons to be found. And also, sometimes when I screw up the biggest, it actually helps me to have empathy and understanding for others who are struggling with some of the things that I'm struggling with. So embrace that imperfection. Believe it or not, it's a gift. And then, of course, I can't go a week without saying this. Set boundaries like a boss. Perfectionism thrives on people pleasing. Stop that. Start saying no to things that drain you. Prioritize yourself without guilt. I'm telling you, there are women that I work with right now who are setting and enforcing boundaries that they never have in their lives. And it is amazing to watch their transformation. I could not be prouder of them. They are pushing back. They're saying no. Family, friends, coworkers, their subordinates, their superiors. It's amazing. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. And this is where I feel so incredibly grateful that I do what I do for a living, because I get to see the growth in countless women. I get to see them transform into these magical creatures who are unstoppable. And you know what? If you're one of them, just know that you inspire me also. Know that your growth, your progress, your transformation helps me along my journey too. It's a beautiful two-way street. The next piece here. Surround yourself with realness. Follow people who keep it real. Ditch the toxic influences and find a community that uplifts authenticity over illusion. Thankfully, as an old woman, kidding, 51 isn't old, right? Yeah, any 18-year-old that is listening to this is probably freaking out at the thought of being 50. But anyway, I feel very lucky because I did not grow up with social media. So I never followed any of these perfect people, right? Like my social media started, well, this is how old I am. I had a MySpace, right? Oh, how embarrassing just to even think about MySpace and how I was on it. But anyway, I had MySpace and then I had Facebook, and it wasn't like we weren't following celebrities back then. We weren't following influencers back then. Actually, there were no influencers as they are today. Instagram came along when I was an adult with kids, and I did not give one single rat's ass about what Sally next door was posting all over her feed. Like, I didn't care. I didn't compare myself. But for you younger ladies, you've grown up with this. You have, like, this has been a part of your life, and where you turn to the internet and social media to find answers, unfortunately, part of that is filled with a bunch of fake people. And so that's why I say surround yourself with realness. Get rid of these, quote, perfect people who are telling you, oh, and you can have a perfect life too. No, you can't. There does not exist a perfect life. And the more you have that devil on your shoulder telling you that, the worse it's going to be for you. The worse you're going to feel about yourself. And then that brings us to the next step, self-compassion. Self-compassion is key. Talk to yourself like you would a best friend, a child sometimes even, the compassion of a child, the nurturing of a child, if you need to. Be kind. Be understanding. Cut yourself some damn slack. And then reclaim rest and joy, because rest is not laziness. Joy is not selfish. Build more of both into your life. And then finally, speak up. Call out perfectionist expectations in conversations, social media, and workplaces. Change starts with awareness. All right. Now, you know I love to leave you with a powerful quote. So, of course, I picked one from the incredible Brené Brown. She says, imperfections are not inadequacies. They are reminders that we are all in this together. Ladies, perfection is not the goal. Growth, authenticity, and joy, they are. All right, my fierce and fabulous listeners, it is time to take action. This week, I challenge you to let go of one unrealistic expectation that you have been holding yourself to. Just one. Maybe it's giving yourself grace when you don't finish everything on your to-do list. Maybe it's skipping the guilt when you take a break. Whatever it is, release it and own your worth as you are. And of course, if today's episode resonated with you, let's keep this conversation going. Join our Facebook group, The Hint Hive, where we unpack these topics and support each other in real time. Share your thoughts, your struggles, and your wins. We are in this together. I have some amazing ladies in that group who are just dying to jump into conversations with you. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you love today's talk, leave a review. Your support helps us to amplify this movement. All right, my friends, that's it for today. Stay bold, stay authentic, and keep breaking the mold. Until next time, keep owning your power. This podcast is powered by Kelly Hint Empowerment Coaching, as well as Kelly M. Hint LMHC and The Cranky Counselor. To find out more about coaching services, head over to CoachKellyHint.com. If you'd like to know more about the psychotherapy services I offer to individuals within the state of New York, you can check out KellyMHint.com. And if you'd like to learn more about aromatherapy, you can check out TheCrankyCounselor.com.